Apple shares are taking a beating this morning. They're down almost 10% after the company reported earnings that met expectations, actually beat just slightly. Revenue is only slightly down. And you look at what they've lost since their peak in September is about $220 billion, which is roughly the market cap of either IBM or Microsoft. It sounds crazy. Rob, I'm going to put myself, actually I'm not going to put myself, I am a shareholder, so try and keep me honest here. What on earth is going on? Why is this company losing 10% on decent earnings?
Well, tech companies, they aren't valued on what they've got in the market. They've gotten what's coming down the pike.
Right.
And the problem is that Apple's so far ahead of everyone, and it's clear that rivals like Samsung are starting to catch up. Profits were actually flat compared to last year. And the reason is because Apple, to feel they have to keep up, they have to keep on introducing a lot of new products. They had a new iPad, they had a new iPhone.
Which is all
these
good
products,
stuff,
these
right?
products are all, I mean, they're all good, and we've written about that they should kind of keep things trundling along, but they're not the innovation that Apple has brought. They're kind of tinkering at the margins. They're making minor improvements.
Well, they're
and
two
cannibalizing.
things. Yeah, the problem is when you introduce a new product, the profits are slow at first because it takes a while to figure out how to make something efficiently. Exactly,
but I mean, if I look at a car company, for example, it takes 2 or 3 years after a new car's introduced before you get some really good juice on it. But surely for tech companies, it's got to be quicker than that.
No, not necessarily. It varies, of course. You know, it's one of these things you don't want to say absolutely, but it tends to be a year or so before it starts. The profits really start to come in.
Right.
The thing is that Samsung's been innovating so quickly that Apple's kind of stepped up the pace.
That's why the point is, it's not that these things aren't selling. I mean, they sold like 20 million more iPhones and iPads than they did a year ago. So I mean, they're selling massive amounts.
But who's actually innovating? I mean, Samsung's doing nothing particularly new either. They're all upgrades to
Well, they're all catching up. It's kind of like the Red Queen's race from Alice in Wonderland, where you have to run faster and faster just to stand still.
Right.
That's what they're doing. They're introducing more products, and the profits aren't. The sales grew nicely.
But so let's put this
up.
in perspective, though. So Apple is now trading at what? Look at as a price to earnings. It's now trading what?
It's about 8 times earnings.
Well, that's including cash. So take out that 120 billion of cash. It's trading even lower than that. That implies not just no growth, but negative growth.
Yeah, and again, as I said, people are looking what's coming down the pike as opposed to what's here. That seems like awfully cheap because you figure, okay, they're doing perfectly fine right now, and they're still having problems meeting demand for all these new products.
But the strand that also had everyone excited 3 to 4, 6 months ago was TV, like this brand new product that was really going to kind of take them in it. And all of a sudden, that story has been completely forgotten, completely lost. Nobody thinks it's certainly not baked in that they're going to innovate the TV market, which is huge for them.
Nothing was mentioned yesterday, which is not unusual, but Tim Cook, the CEO, has given a couple of oblique hints in the last couple of months.
They've been hinting around this for years, unfortunately. That's the thing, and people are becoming a little skeptical. That said, the stock is so cheap, there's almost a free option. If they introduce the new TV, the stock's going to go a lot higher, I think.
And what about the cash? All this cash sitting on the balance sheet, should they give even more back to shareholders?
Yes.
That's excellent. Well, as a shareholder, I think that's great news. Well, hopefully, from my perspective as a shareholder, I hope Rob is correct and I'm in for more money. But let's see. I mean, Apple stock's way down off its highs. Let's see if Tim Cook, the CEO, can turn it around. Stay with us. We'll be back tomorrow with more breaking views.